Today I'm gonna show you how to make tileable textures without Substance Designer. So the first thing I did, I sculpted these bricks inside ZBrush and I brought them to Blender. Now here in Blender, I'm gonna add a plane here and I'm gonna rotate that into Y-axis. So what this plane is gonna be, what we're gonna use to bake our textures. So you can name that whatever you want. I'm just gonna name it a texture plane. So the way I sculpted these bricks, each side is different. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna place them like that and I'm gonna join them and I'm gonna create an array. In this array, I'm gonna put 0 on the vector X and I'm gonna put 1 on Y-axis. I'm gonna have to apply the rotation here. Nice. Awesome. So that's basically what I wanted. And now I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna change this to 2 and I'm gonna change from relative offset to constant offset. I'm gonna change Y to 2 meters. That is the size of this plane. So I can use this to make sure that that these bricks are gonna be tiling. So I'm gonna just scale it a little bit so they match better. I guess that's okay. So now I'm gonna duplicate this last array again and I'm gonna change 2 meters on the Z-axis now. It actually is, it's inverted. Okay, so now I can offset it a little bit. So now I can make sure that the Z-axis is tileable and I'm gonna now do the same for the rest of the bricks. So yeah, now I'm gonna duplicate this and I'm gonna delete this one because I don't need it. Now I can do something like this. I'm gonna duplicate this 3 times and offset it just so I don't have the exact same pattern here. And now I can just apply these modifiers and I'm gonna delete the ones that I'm not using here. So all of these ones, they are not touching the plane. I don't need them. And this last column here, I'm gonna delete them too because I actually want to offset them from here to make sure that it is exactly the same offset that I need. So yeah, what I can do now is I'm gonna go into the edit mode, select everything, and I'm gonna separate it by loose parts. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click the 3 of these bricks, apply an array again with a constant offset in the Y-axis by 2, and I'm gonna press Ctrl L and press copy modifiers. So it's copied for all of the bricks that I'm selecting. Great. Now what I can do is I can duplicate this on the Z-axis until I hit the bottom. There's this, yeah, I forgot that. But that's okay. I guess we can just offset this where we're having this problem. And I'm gonna duplicate this last part again. And then great, that's all I needed. So I'm just gonna make sure I can scale parts. That's not gonna be noticeable. I'm gonna rotate a little. So now I'm gonna go back to these bricks here and I'm gonna apply the first 2 modifiers. Great, okay. So now I can delete the ones that I'm not using and I'm gonna separate all of them by loose parts. So I can delete this last one as well, and now I can copy the select modifiers and select only the modifier that I want from this one to this one. And now what I should have is a perfectly seamless brick wall. Great. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is duplicate this texture plane here and I'm gonna hide the other one, and this one I'm gonna bring this a little bit to the back and I'm gonna duplicate by 2. And now what I can do is I'm gonna add, let me see, 21, yeah, I guess that should be good, and 21 to here too. I'm gonna add a subdivision surface just to add extra geometry. Great. Maybe one more. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into sculpt mode and I'm gonna select the symmetry in my brush settings and I'm gonna apply the Y and Z axis and I'm gonna change the offset 2 for both of them. And you can see that when I make any brush stroke here, it's gonna be replicating, it's gonna be tiling in the Y and Z axis by 2 meters. So anything that I do here is gonna be applied to the other borders of our sculpt here. So the way I'm gonna use this is to make sure that since both of these that are being sculpted here are kind of the same in my texture, since this is tileable, I can make sure that this is tiling the way I want it. Okay, so I'm gonna use this to erase a few of these bricks here and make the grout be more visible in some places than the others. You can use this to make a lot of variation. So the way I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna use this to make one more variation. I'm gonna make this first layer with only like the bricks. I'm gonna make one texture from only the bricks and another one from this variation here. Awesome. So now what I can do is, so we can have even more variation, I'm gonna change the origin of the objects to the center. And now I can use the randomize transform, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna randomize the x-axis the way a few of them are gonna be more to the front. Okay, now I'm gonna use randomize transform again. I'm not gonna randomize the location anymore, and I'm gonna randomize a little bit rotation. Let me try 15 degrees. Okay, 15 degrees for this one. It's a little bit too much. For the rest, it might be okay. Now we only need to apply the rotation, and then everything should be going back to where it should be. Okay, so now we have a tileable brick pattern, and what I'm gonna do now is, okay, so we have what we want here, and I'm gonna duplicate this, and I'm just gonna sculpt a little bit more the grout here, so they are not above the bricks. Now I'm gonna bring my texture plane again. I'm gonna put this in front of everything. Now I'm gonna make a material for both of them, maybe bricks. I'm just gonna take a look at the UVs, but the UVs should be alright already because it's a plane. Yeah, they're alright. Okay, so last thing I'm gonna do before exporting to Substance Painter, I'm gonna go and just convert all of this. I'm gonna do this for all of it actually, just to apply the modifiers. And now I'm gonna just merge all of this together. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to apply a random vertex color for the background and for the bricks. So now here on Vertex Paint, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the paint and I'm gonna hit set connected vertex colors, and you might have to deactivate one of these. And now you can see that I have different colors for both of the meshes. I'm gonna do the same for the bricks. If you don't want, you don't actually need, it's not super necessary to do that for the bricks. Just use it as a color variation, not for the color picker, the way I'm gonna use the rest of it. I'm gonna do the same for the bricks. So now I can bring to Substance Painter. And here in Substance Painter, I'm just gonna go into the texture set settings, and I'm gonna hit apply diffusion. I'm gonna change the settings of the output for whatever I want, and I'm gonna select my high poly into the high definition mesh, and I'm probably gonna have to tweak this. Actually, I'm gonna change the output size to 512 for now, just so I can see if those parameters are working. So now to make sure that the ID map is working, I'm gonna just change the color source on the ID parameters to vertex color, and now it should be ready to go. And I'm just gonna change the anti-aliasing to 16, and let's see. Okay, everything worked fine, so I'm just gonna change the output size to be 2K, and I'm gonna rebake. Okay, so we had these few artifacts on the bake. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the bake, and I'm gonna increase the amount of rear distance, maybe decrease the frontal distance if I can do that. Yeah, and hit bake. And so now it's just a matter of texturing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some smart materials to make that really easily. And in here, first I'm gonna instantiate that to the other texture, and now I'm gonna bring this to another folder so I can create a black mask. So I can create a color selection mask, and I'm gonna select this. Now it's only affecting the background. I'm gonna do the same for this one. Awesome. So, and now I'm gonna take another rock texture, maybe even this one, and I'm gonna do this in here so I have more control on only one of the texture sets. Okay, I'm gonna instantiate this, put this in another folder, and create a mask. I'm gonna actually copy this mask. I'm gonna paste this here. Now I'm gonna invert this. Same thing in here, copy this, invert mask, and now we have a tileable brick texture. So the idea is I'm gonna just use that now, just use some color variation here. I'm gonna add a fill layer to this folder with the mask for the bricks, and I'm gonna fill that with the ID that I can find in here. I'm just gonna change the blending mode to something like probably multiply. Overlay it's good too. I'm gonna change the opacity. Something like this should be okay. Yeah, it creates a nice color variation, improves the texture a lot. It's always good to make sure, and that it's probably not the case now that I'm thinking of. The ID is probably not tileable, so you want to pay some attention to that. But yeah, I like that. I'm just gonna deactivate this because I don't like, but the rest of it I'm pretty satisfied. I'm gonna just decrease the opacity of this, and I'm gonna change color of the wall to something white. Great, awesome. Now I have made a tileable texture inside Substance Painter. So thank you for watching this video. If you like, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments. Bye.